How's it going? James with OnlineCarShow. Got a really cool underhood dress-up mod that was actually sent to me from a viewer and fellow YouTube creator. So without hesitation, let's get this video started. Well, I reached out to a channel that I personally subscribe to called Craftsmansteve. He had some really cool underhood flags, and I just kind of commented, said those look really good, you know, how'd you make them, etc. And he told me that he machined them from steel. You know, I asked him if he could possibly, you know, make me a set, and he agreed. He was also the winner of my contest for the AC valve cover cap, which is really cool. So this kind of worked itself out in the end. But anyways, I'll get into it, and I'm going to show off these the steel flags that he sent and some of the processes I went through to paint and apply them. And I made a huge mistake in this that did do damage to my underhood liner. Son of a bitch. So hopefully my mistake will translate into you doing a better job and not making the same mistake I did. All right, for step one, we're gonna try some, I'm not sure the best way to go about this, so we're gonna try just using some automotive primer with filler that's fully sandable, made from metal. And another little tip here, I use the metal primer actually on my intakes too. The other thing is, clean these off really good, of course, before you do this, which I'd already done, but just put a light coat of primer on there. We're going to come back, of course, and sand it and do this, repeat this step anyways. About 8 inches back. Just don't start, make sure you don't start using the can on top of what you're painting. Start it over here, work your way through and stop. And that's going to get you nice even coats. Make sure you're using the, that should do it. What we're going to do is let that fully dry. Just give us a light coat on it. All right, I waited about 30 minutes. Now we're gonna come back. I flipped them over. We're gonna do the other side. Just get a nice, try to get a nice even coat over it. Don't go crazy with it yet. We're gonna make multiple passes at this. So as you can see, you can still see some of the underneath there, but it's a light coat on it. And wait 30 minutes again for that to dry. It doesn't take long for primer. And we'll sand it and apply a second coat. I've got some 320 grain. You probably actually want to go a lot smaller grain than this, even maybe some 500 or more, 1,000 grain or wet sand. And you're just going to take it basically. We're not trying to take off the primer, basically just smoothing it out, getting that primer to fill in any cracks and give us a nice base for the paint. This is the secret to a good paint, is actually not the painting itself. It's preparing for the paint and getting everything perfect. It's already feeling really smooth. He sent them to me in really good shape already, but we're getting there. Repeat that step for the other three. All right, I think we've got these pretty well sanded off for our first pass. Again, you know, take your time with this. You don't have to do it all in one pass. We're going to do 2 or 3 iterations of this and get it perfect. So, we're ready to paint her again. Primer. Again, even brush strokes or spray strokes, whatever you want to call it. That's looking pretty good. 30 minutes for that to dry. Damn, wind is ruining it. Yay. All right, we waited 30 minutes. Now we're going to apply a coat to the other side. I flipped them over. Take the paint. You want to attack it from different sides. As you see them coming from the other side, back. That way your angle will be different and you'll be getting different parts of the edges and stuff, so forth. It's pretty good. We'll wait for that to dry 30 minutes and we'll sand her. All right, waited 30 minutes, get you a new piece of sandpaper. All right, those look pretty good. Think we're ready for coat number 3. This will probably be our final, that was probably our final sanding there. I think they're pretty good. So from here out, no more sanding. We're just gonna apply, I think 2 coats of primer will probably be good. Just 2 light coats to cover it. Once you sand it off. All right, wait 30 minutes and we'll flip her over. All right, got them flipped over. I'm gonna do the other side. Again, no more sanding this pass. I think we're pretty good. All right, now that we've waited 30 minutes, what we want to do this pass instead of sanding is just to get rid of any you know, little things that are sticking off from the actual spray paint can and stuff like that. Smooth it out some. Just take yourself a towel that's not going to get hairs all over it and just kind of rub on it some, and you'll notice afterward it'll be a lot smoother than when you started. That's going to get any of the crap off that from this. Again, like I said, how we prepare this in the primer stage and the prep is going to make the biggest difference in the end stage. All right, we got the final coat of primer on. What we're going to do is let this cure for a couple hours. Let the primer, you know, inside and out fully cure, dry, and then we're going to come back, wipe her off one more time, and then we'll get to paint it. All right, as you can see, we got the final coat of primer on. We're going to wipe it off, get her smooth again. It's been a couple hours curing. Just know when you get to the paint stage, the curing process is a lot longer for the paint than it is for the primer. So these 30 minutes we had on this are not going to be the same with the paint. And also your drying time is going to be dependent on your humidity and your temperatures. So keep that in mind. If you're in a cooler area or whatnot, you do want to apply more time, even over what I said. And really, if it's real cool, you want to check your paint temperatures too, and make sure you can even paint at the temperatures if it's too cool or too hot. Closer, I think you get to room temperature, the better, but I'm not the expert on that. I think it's pretty good, and we're ready to go ahead and start applying some paint. Just know any mistakes you make at the painting stage, because we're not sanding or anything, you basically have to start all over, sand all the primer off, everything, and start this whole process over. If we make any mistakes from here on out, and you do want to go ahead and do even strokes, and you know, your painting stage, this is where the artist in you needs to shine a little bit. And primer you can be a lot more messy with, but just be very smooth when you get to this stage. And because of the fact I'm painting it 3 different colors, we're going to go ahead and remove 2 of these out of the picture while we paint one. I'm going to do a red, white, and blue theme on this. So take our red. I'm going to go ahead, spray it a couple times, make sure to get all the crap out of the nose of it, get it painting smooth. Again, 8 inches away, start before the metal, end, or take your finger off the trigger after the metal. Don't have to cover it fully this pass. We're going to make 3 or 4 passes with the colors, so you just want to get a good base, is all you're trying to do with this first coat. That looks pretty good to me for a first coat. So we're going to wait probably on this one at least a good hour, and flip her over and try the other side. I may wait longer. Alright, well, our red seems like it's pretty good here, so I'm just going to give it a light wipe off with our towel, and we're going to flip to the other side and do the other side of it. Just lightly wipe her off. All you're trying to do is catch any little don't know what you call them, doohickeys or whatever. Doohickeys. But what, I don't know what the hell you call them. The chingas, that's what we're gonna call them. Get any little chingas off of it. And we're gonna flip her over. You can see nothing on this side. So paint up this side, get it looking like that. And we'll be done with the first coat on the red. Exciting. All right, and just to let y'all know, you really should be using gloves for this because your skin oils get on it, but I think we're pretty good on this. I'm gonna give her a final wipe off on both sides, get the chingas off, and we'll apply a second coat to her. And you can go a little bit thicker in this coat, but again, we can do this over time. There's no need to put on serious coats on this in any of these steps. Well, I think we're pretty good with that. Just to show off where we're at, before we flip over and I guess do the other side. I want to show you how good these are looking. This is only coat 2 of paint. Remember, we're going to put clear over the top of this, so it's not going to shine yet, but to show you how good looking this paint, how good this paint is turning out. Check that out, guys. Alright, well, because we're going to be switching to clear coat after this stage, let's go ahead and let this dry for actually a full day. Let the paint fully cure, dry inside. You want to let that happen because that way the clear will be on top of the paint. Alright, well now we want to come back after it's cured, at least a good 8 hours I would say. Come back, you're going to go ahead and do your clear coating. Do a really light coat at first, just like all the rest. Alright, well I went ahead and skipped ahead to the third coat of clear. I put, I don't know, 1 coat on one side, and we're on the, this will be the third coat for the front side. So as you can see, it's getting really shiny, but there's some texture in it. I'm going to show you how to get rid of that in a second. So let's apply this third coat, and then we're going to do some finishing polish. Alright, well I did skip ahead here because I felt it was getting a little repetitive, but we got about 6 coats of clear on. What I do about every third coat is I apply a, I let it fully dry and I do a finishing polish. I do a finishing polish, sorry. And what this is going to allow is less cloudy and allow you to get more clear coat on it. So this is about 6 coats of clear. I think we're at a good point. I'm going to do a final finishing polish on them tomorrow when it fully dries and cures, and we'll look at getting some epoxy and put it on the car. As you can see here, we did have one little mistake here that happened. I had to pull off some epoxy from using a clear Gorilla epoxy. I figured all epoxy would work the same. I've never applied one that actually, you know, over time dripped and so forth. So I didn't think there was a problem with doing this install, you know, at an angle and so forth with gravity affecting it. But as I learned, the Gorilla Clear epoxy was basically total crap. Do not use it. In the end, I ended up stripping it off. I did scrape on the back side with some rougher sandpaper to get it to the metal. I did go with the JB Weld from AutoZone. I'm going to throw in a picture here so you can see which one I went with. It's a steel-based epoxy. It did the trick. I applied it the exact same way I did the clear, and it held up. It didn't drip or anything. It should have been what I went with in the first place. And actually Mr. Lee his channel, he told me that I should have used it and I should have listened to him, but because of what it said on the back of the clear epoxy from Gorilla, it said that it worked on cloth and metal, which actually it seemed to work with neither. I went with it, which was a mistake. So do not make that same mistake I did, and you will have 0 issues. Once I did use the JB Weld, as you can see, it's moving with the actual plate. I've driven with it for a day or two, and everything appears to be great. So note to yourself on the install, use the JB Weld. All right, well, as you can see, I went ahead and went with it. You know, the slight imperfections add a little character, and eventually I am planning on going with the Anderson composite carbon fiber hood. So eventually it will be upgraded, and I'll probably give away the Craftsmansteve flags when I do so, so watch out for that video. But these look incredible. Thank you so much. The craftsmanship, I guess, that he used was excellent. I had no issues. They fit perfect. And the paint went great. No complaints there either from Duplicolor. But anyways, y'all be sure to, you know, stay tuned to the channel. Hit that subscribe button below. We've got the car detail video coming up. Finishing off that series, I'm going to do a vinyl treatment and protection, and also a video on car wax to finish off that series. We've also got a mod coming up that I don't want to disclose yet, and the Petro box I'm expecting any day now. So there's a lot going on with the channel. Y'all be sure to hit the subscribe and like button, and I will see y'all later. Thanks for watching.